Good morning, everyone. I'd like to call the meeting of the Diversity Committee to order, please. Are there any public speakers?
Yes, they are. There is an effort for a paid college internship program on 2nd Avenue Subway, and they're going to give us a brief overview of the project, in addition to having two of our students here to talk about their experiences.
Good morning. Thank you very much. My name is Kieran Spillane. I'm with the Phase 2 partnership. We're the design team for the Phase 2 of 2nd Avenue Subway, extending the line up from 96th Street and 2nd Avenue up to Harlem and 125th Street. We've been on the project for about 18 months, and we've just recently completed a milestone in our design phase. As part of our design project and our program, we've engaged with local colleges over the last 2 years to engage students in a paid summer intern program. And this is our second summer we've actually engaged that. We had 6 students from City College that were employed by our member teams within our partnership. And of those 6, we had 3 African Americans. And of those 6, we had 3 female and 3 male. So we had a nice diverse group out there. Our program extended throughout the full-term school year, so we were not just limited to the summer. And so we have 2 of those interns that are continuing on. I'll have them speak in just a minute. We're also engaging in the ACE mentoring program with local high schools, and currently we have 20 students that are participating. For next year, we're committed to extending the program. Next summer, we're already engaged with City College so that we can expand the pool of potential candidates, so that next year we can get a larger group than the 6 we had this past summer. So if that's any questions, I'll turn it over to my students. Introduce Flavia Bepler.
Hi, my name is Flavia Bepler. I'm from Brazil, and I come to New York because it's my dream to work with transportation, because it's the area that you can impact the most number of people if you do the right things. And if you save a little percent of money, you save a huge amount of money. So to work in this project, the 2nd Avenue Subway Station is so grateful for me. And now I'm work with acquisition part and know all this process and all these relevant parts and how much is going to affect the people there is really important to understand all this process. Thank you.
And another student is Ahmed Obidat, who will speak next.
Hi, my name is Ahmed Obidat. I'm a geotechnical intern with the 2nd Avenue Subway. I am from originally Jersey, but if you want to trace back, I'm from Jordan. It's part of the Arabian Peninsula. I'm very appreciative for the MTA for providing this internship for us. It helps us learn a lot. I learned how an office works because this is my first internship. And I've did a lot of engineering work, including test pits, SPT, bore logs, working on reports, building inspections, and I've learned a lot. And it's going to help me further specialize in geotech, which is the specialization that I want to further do. And that's about it.
Are there any other public speakers?
No, that's it.
Well, I want to thank our 2 interns for coming to speak with us. I hope you spread the word that we're doing great things here at the MTA, and we have a lot of good opportunities for young people as well as older people. We're making an effort to diversify our own workforce as well as use subcontractors that diversify theirs. Personally, it's very nice to see a woman because I think women sometimes don't understand that transit is an interesting thing for women to get involved with. And Ahmed, I'm happy to have you involved because I think the geotech work that's going on in the project that you were on is, to me, absolutely astonishing. So thank you very much. We need more of these programs, so let's keep working at it. Normally, I would ask for an approval of the minutes at this point, but unfortunately, we don't have a quorum of voting members, so I'm going to postpone that until our next meeting. He's not allowed to vote. No. I don't know. The chair cannot vote on the committee. You may. So please attend as often as possible. Well, I like to have the chair here as well. So thank you. Are there any updates or changes to the work plan?
Madam Chair, there are two changes to the work plan. As you know, we were initially scheduled to meet in September, so the report that was to be in September is being presented at this meeting in November with some changes as indicated. We have also, originally there was the committee charter review scheduled to be presented in September. We have removed that charter review because the Corporate Governance Committee and the full board completed the annual review of all the charters in March. So that's why the charter has also been removed. Those are the changes to the work plan.
Any questions? Keep in mind, we do have a meeting in December to catch up on the meetings. And in that case, Michael, can you take us through the executive summary, please?
Yes, I can. Excuse me, and welcome back. My grandfather always said that if you live life long enough, everything comes full circle. So Susan is back, and I welcome you. We achieved some great things, and we achieved great things when Vice Chairman Ferrer was the chair. And with that being said, the governor announced his MWBE payments at his conference last month, and the MTA, if we can go to the screen, is there. Yeah. We are ranked number one in the entire state of 96 state agencies and authorities with dollars paid to state certified firms, and we are averaging 26%. This is the year that we are going to, I would say, exceed the governor's 30%. I just don't want to satisfy the governor's 30%, but I want to exceed it. And we're going to do that by working with the operating agencies more effectively of creating opportunities both at the prime level and at the sub-level and affording contract opportunities to our state certified firms. So we are very, very anxious to achieve the governor's 30% MWBE goal and rank number one in the state, I would say the region. Naeem?
For the diverse business and diversity initiatives, Madam Chair, we attended 17 outreach events from January through October. And as a result of these events, the participation has increased in some areas, which are indicated here. We have also listed some of those events, and the annual MWBE conference, which is listed here as well, was held in Albany on October 3rd and 4th, which is the largest of its kind in the state, and over 2,000 participants were there. Those are the MWBEs and private public sector participants. Another conference will be held in December. That's the DBE Opportunity Day. We have also indicated in this book, there's details of the firms who have obtained contracts from the MTA as a result of participating in these outreach events, and some 35 firms obtained contracts which are worth $467 million in both prime and subcontract awards. We have also seen an increase in the number of participants who have been coming to our DBE certification workshops. For the DBE certification activity report from April through September, we received fewer DBE certification applications. However, as I just mentioned, there has been an increase in the attendance of firms who are coming to our workshops, so we expect to see an increase in the number of firms who are applying for DBE certification in the future. For the EEO report?
Yes, Attorney.
Good morning. For the EEO activity, total workforce increased by 2%, females increased by 6%, and females were hired at a higher percentage. Minorities in the workforce increased by 3%. Next slide. As indicated in the summary, we have outlined the disparity with respect to females and minorities in these specific job categories. For the MTA strategies, the strategies for improvement are outlined as follows for your review.
And thank you. Let me just say that that based upon several conversations with the Vice Chairman and Chairman Metzger, that we are now meeting with the operating agencies. This is led by David Sang, and we're meeting with each one of the operating agencies, HR departments, and EEO staff to come up with our recommendations how we can finally eradicate the hiring disparities with regard to ethnic minorities and women in certain job categories. And so those best practices and recommendations will be forwarded back to us. I will have a briefing with the senior leadership team, and then basically coming up with strategies in which we can finally hire in a very, very inclusive manner. And so that's being worked on right now. And as Chairman Metzger has always indicated, that if we're going to essentially eradicate that, then we need to incorporate the same business practices and strategies that we used on the business side of increasing more opportunities for state-certified firms. And now that focus has to be employed on the workforce side as well.
I'd like to point out that it really rests with the operating agencies to bring about the changes and help us meet the goals that we have for our workforce. But it rests here in that you need to explain what has been successful, because it takes both sides to work together. Ultimately, it's the operating agencies that will be doing this hiring, but you can help them figure out how to do it best, and I'm sure you will.
George.
Good morning, Chairman, Vice Chair, Madam Chair, welcome back. Currently, we have 244 contractors participating in our program. However, compared to last year, there have been a downward trend in program participant due to graduation from the program and the failure of firms not submitting their financials in a timely manner. Our emerging contractors program was established to increase the diversity of the program. The Emerging Contractors Program is the most diverse group within our program. 53 firms were pre-qualified, 21 firms satisfied the Tier 1 pre-qualification requirements and have transitioned into Tier 1. 18 firms are still under review for transitioning into Tier 1. 15 firms were not able to meet the Tier 1 qualification, thus they were rescinded from the program. And during the last year, we have had 10 projects that were awarded, totaling $3.87 million. Our next slide shows the number of projects and the total dollars that have been awarded. Since the inception of the program, we have had 345 projects, totaling $328.3 million in prime contracts that have been awarded. In program year 8, which ended July 31st, 68 projects totaling $70.2 million were awarded. This represents 94% increase in the number of projects awarded and a little over 102% increase in the total dollars over the previous program year. This next slide talks about our loan program. And since the inception of the loan program, we have had 108 loans that have been approved, totaling $14.5 million. Our bond program, our surety bond assistant program, which is geared towards our Tier 2 and federal program, have yielded $262 million in single and $489 million in aggregate surety bonding, respectively, to our contractors. 94 contracts have been awarded in Tier 2 and the federal program since the inception of the program. As it pertains to job creation, since the inception of the program, An estimated 8,200 jobs were created with small businesses and the MWDB and SDVOB community. In program year 8, 1,684 new jobs were created, thus representing a 27% increase from prior year. What's new and exciting in our program? Three things I could point to. One is providing comprehensive website review and capability statement for our contractors. We are currently in the process of researching some vendors who could assist in that endeavor. Our summer executive leadership training program, the topic are varying, and it ranged from how to prepare a compliance bid to business development, MWB legal issues, etc. And this is just to help our contractors as they transition through the various tiers of the program. And then the last thing is bidding opportunities for our program, for the graduates of our program. We're working with various MTA agencies to create bidding opportunities in the $3 to $15 million range so that program graduates can continue to grow their businesses by bidding on work within the MTA. This does conclude my presentation.
So, and let me say that George indicated the last part, which is key, because the range of the program is from 1 million to 3 million. And so what is the most logical model that these firms can graduate in? And led by Transit, they have started debundling and designing smaller packages from 3 to 15 million. And we're starting to see a lot of firms who are in the program who are now winning projects at 7 million, 8 million, and 9 million. And you grow these companies not on subcontract opportunities, but you grow them on prime contract opportunities so they can be in control of their own destiny. And so this program has transformed the industry of allowing these smaller emerging MWBE contractors to work for the MTA as prime contractors. And it's my understanding that in the new program bill for the governor, he wants to expand this program to other state agencies like DASNY, CUNY, and SUNY. Next, Naeem.
For the MWDB and SDVOB contract compliance report, we have a 30% goal for the current state fiscal year for MWBE participation. That's 15% for MWBEs and 15% for WBEs. For the reporting period, 15% was achieved in contract awards, and 26% was achieved in payments made out to MWBEs. Additionally, there's a 6% goal for the service-disabled veteran-owned businesses. I'm happy to report that we have achieved that goal of 6%. We have gone slightly above that goal for the reporting period. That's measured against contracts for which there are opportunities for SDVOBs. For the same reporting period, 3% participation was achieved in payments to SDVOBs. Additionally, our third goal is for the DBEs, which is 18% for the current fiscal year of 2018. 13% was achieved in terms of awards, and 15% DBE participation was achieved in payments made to DBEs. Strategies for improvement. Do you want to talk to that? Okay. So this slide lists some of the things that we plan to implement or have implemented to achieve greater participation. As indicated here, we have achieved 73% MWB participation and 56% DB participation for the Small Business Development Program. And we're also continue to work with the operating agencies to design smaller contracts, which range from 3 million to 15 million in value, to allow for greater opportunities for small businesses like SD, VOBs, and MWDBEs as prime contract awards. And we continue to also conduct effective outreach to potential firms so that we can increase our pool of available firms so they can participate in the small business mentoring program as well as in other contracts. And last but not least, we continue to engage in a target recruitment effort to encourage MWBEs and DBEs to compete as prime contractors. Continuing with the outreach, continuing with the with our MWB report, we have increased monitoring activities to ensure that the firms which are projected were actually working on the contract on our contracts, and currently more than 1,500 contracts are being monitored for goal compliance. And in order to safeguard fraud and ensure that the MWDBs and SDVOBs are performing a commercially useful function, we continue to conduct visits to sites where these firms are working. For the reporting period of January through September of this year, over 500 visits were conducted. The average for this period is 56 site visits, which exceeds the goal that we have set for ourselves for 50 visits per month.
Naeem, I realize that you've been focused on monitoring, and I'm happy to see it. I think it's a good thing. But I'm curious if you use some metric on the extent to which goals are being met. You know, do you have a measure that says more goals are being met than were being met in years past? Or do you have a metric that identifies who's meeting the goals and who isn't, and the mitigation plan they need to put into effect? Because I think the board would like to hear some of that as well.
Good morning, Susan. Good to see you too. I think the information is contained in the diversity book, in which we did a 5-year range, so you can kind of see how we're fluctuating in the way that we are achieving the goals. We have broken it down by agency, so you can see, we have the information broken out by agency, so we can talk to them whether or not, based on the type of contracts that a majority of the funding is going to or we're awarding, it would all the time be construction. But if you're looking for more detailed information, we can pull that together for you.
Can you identify the page? I know you have a lot of backup.
I was just trying to get there.
I want the board to understand that the executive summary is just the tip of the iceberg here. Right. That there's a lot more information available, but in the interest of time, sometimes it isn't too clear.
For DBE, it's on page 143 and 144. We have the contract awards over a period of October 2012 to March 2018. And for MWBE, you will see the trend of awards on page 148 and 149 for payments.
Yes.
Madam Chair, the point you made about the point of these metrics being to focus our attention on mitigation efforts, I hope doesn't get lost in this colloquy.
Let me speak to this for a second, and we're now going to go back and look at the number of payments that were made to state certified firms. So for example, if you go back to 08-09, we paid a total of $114 million to state certified firms, which equated to 6% MWBE inclusion. The most recent year that just concluded on March 31st, those metrics have increased from 114 million to 634 million, which is now 26 MWBE inclusion. And so focusing on the metrics of the payments, there is a upward spiral to those payments. And as Gwen has highlighted, there is bar charts or bar graphs right now, which tells you how we're doing with regard to not only awards, but to payments. And let's just be clear that the most effective metric that's embraced by the state of New York is payments, whereas the metrics embraced by the FTA is awards. we feel as though that the most accurate measure of success are the numbers of dollars that's being paid to minority, women-owned, and disadvantaged business enterprises, because we all understand that access to government contracts equals job creation, home ownership, better educational opportunities, and better healthcare options for our firms who have historically been excluded.
The metric of payments makes sense in that it encompasses the concept of goal attainment, whether or not people have met their goals. But it's hard sometimes for the board to understand because the payments cover, in many cases, a period of years where our goal changed. So it always kind of looks like we're not meeting goal, but in fact we are. We're just meeting different goals through time. And that's hard to explain to people.
So finally, we're getting more aggressive when it comes to MWDB contract compliance. Based upon our most recent policies, the enforcement of MWDB goals are a shared responsibility with the operating agencies. And so now we are in the process of forwarding over a report to the agency presidents, which is going to highlight which projects are not meeting their goals, with a quest now to bringing in those contractors and consultants, having them give us an action plan as to how the goals are going to be met. And so you will be getting that report some given point in time this week, and that report will be forwarded over to the agency presidents on a monthly basis.
I think that'll be helpful to the agency presidents to really watch where they are.
So lastly, as Mike mentioned, in order to accurately assess goal compliance, we have closed over 1,300 contracts for the reporting period.
And Gwen and her staff has done a great, fantastic job of closing out projects and also conducting site visits. And you know, from about 2 or 3 years ago, the IG came in and did an audit that showed that we were not closing out projects and we were not conducting site visits, and that has changed. And also, finally, on the fact of the closeouts, now there are new policies which talks about how the agencies need to close out their projects, and then we will get a notice of final payment, and then we will close out our projects as well. And so we're also reaching out to the agencies, telling them these are projects that are closed, and please send us a notice of final payment so we can officially close out the projects. Gwen?
Yes, that we have been a lot more proactive than reactive. I think before we were a lot more reactive, waiting on the agencies to tell us. But with our new contract compliance system, we're able to send information out to the agencies and say, you know, are these contracts have passed their end date? Are they ready for closeout? So we are giving them information and trying to assist in the closeout process. If we are notified that we received a notice of final payment and we go in, we look in PeopleSoft and the contract is not closed out, we will notify the agency to close it out in PeopleSoft. So we're a lot more proactive than reactive.
Well, that was the goal of getting involved with that kind of a compliance program. So it's good.
Legal fees. Legal fees. So I just about a half an hour ago forwarded the most recent update to Vice Chairman Ferrer, which shows that we've increased from 8% last year to 15% this year. However, the increase is due to non-ethnic minority-owned law firms, female-owned law firms, which is a good thing, but we need to do a more effective job of affording opportunities to our ethnic minority law firms. And so in the past 6 months, we've been scheduling meetings with ethnic minority law firms with each one of the operating agencies, and essentially we're going to start seeing some more payments made to those ethnic minority law firms. Our goal this year is not going to be 15%, but it's going to be 30%, 15% on each side of the equation. And I'm monitoring this every month, and I will give an update to the vice chairman as to where we are with affording opportunities to our New York State certified MWBE law firms.
Next, Madam Chair, this chart shows the participation in capital projects by the minority women-owned firms as well as the DBE firms. And as this indicates, on the left is the contract awards made. First bullet is about the federally funded projects, which shows 12% participation. On the right-hand side are the payments made, which shows 17% DBE participation. As was mentioned earlier, for the federal projects, the Federal Transit Administration measures goal achievement in terms of payments being made on contracts. The second item is the state certified contracts. In the MBE participation, there was 15% MBE participation. And in terms of payments made, there was 12% MBE participation. And similarly, there was on the same contracts, 14% paid, awarded to WBEs and 11% paid to WBEs. When the state measures goal compliance, they measure in terms of payments being made as opposed to the federals, which is the awards. So on the state side, when the state measures goal achievement, they look at the payments made to MWBEs. Lastly, we have the 6% goal for SDVOBs, and it was 0.4% in awards and only 1% in payments. This is just the capital projects, not the overall projects. For the overall, as I mentioned some moments ago, was 6% participation.
I think we have to work on that. So I'm hoping that we hear in the future how we're going to address the issue. One of the things that is very pleasing to see in our personnel recruitment is that we do have a lot of veterans. And so I think we need to do better for our service-disabled, veteran-owned businesses as well.
And yes, agree. So we are attending a veteran business conference in Albany. I guess it's in 2 or 3 weeks, and we're still waiting for that to be approved. And once it's approved, most agencies will be up there in recruiting firms. The challenge here is that there's only 500 plus certified firms in this space, and a lot of those firms reside upstate in the upstate counties, Buffalo, Erie County, Naira County, and what have you. And so the estate in their quest to increase firms in this program, once there are more contractors in this program, then we'll start to see better opportunities.
Okay, underwriter fees. I believe Mr. Patrick Issam is here to give us a report.
Good afternoon, everyone. These fees represent the fees that we pay to our bond underwriters. The underwriters are in our bond underwriting syndicate group that issue debt to support our capital program and financing our capital program. Even considering the reduction of issuing the bonds on a negotiated basis, because usually we receive fees on a negotiated basis that actually pay these underwriters, we are still maintaining the same practices to ensure that we do our part to meet the overall diversity goals. Real in summary, on the chart, our overall MWB percentage is 29.83%, and our SDVOB percentage is 5.58%, for a total of 35.42%. So thus we are on target to meet our overall goal for the state fiscal year.
Freddie.
Does the term participation equal awarded or paid, or what does that mean, participating?
Yeah. These fees actually represent actual payments, not participation. It's actual payments. Yeah, actual payments.
Let me just also thank you and Pat for your leadership in this area, because other than the Small Business Mentoring Program, this is the only area in the MTA that's achieving their MWSDVOB goals.
And I might add that when I was chair before, there weren't any that were being met, so it's hats off.
Thank you.
The last presentation is Asset Fund Managers report. For the total assets, some 1.2 billion are being managed by MWBEs, and that equals 15%. And that concludes our report.
So there is a total of $1.2 billion in assets being managed by MWBE, asset fund managing firms.
Yes. This concludes our presentation. We will be back in December.
Yes? Do you have anything to add?
Yes, I do. And I just want to, once again, if you look at the breadth and the range of all of our duties and responsibilities, I want to thank my hardworking staff for going beyond the call of duty and ensuring that not only are our contracts awarded in a diverse manner, but our workforce are now starting to take shape. And due to conversations with the vice chairman, we're really going to focus on making sure that the MTA is hiring in a diverse and inclusive manner and coming up with strategies in order to do that. And let me just in fact recognize one of my staff. She is the MWDBE Contract Compliance Manager for Metro North, and no Metro North, you cannot have her. She had the misfortune of breaking her toe in June, and she was out a total of 3 days. And guess what she did in the apex of the summer and all the heat? She came to work. She came to work. That's the kind of dedication that we have of staff who are working in this program. It's a mission for us, and they're very enthusiastic, and we are starting to see great results. So I just want to recognize them and thank them for their hard work and their hard efforts.
I definitely echo that. I can see how hard you all work and the results that you're getting. Are there any comments or additions or questions from the board? Hearing none, a motion to adjourn? We're adjourned. See you in December.